Riders in this motherfucker. The holidays? Shit. That means 12 days of fuck you. Riders for life.
What's going on, everybody? This is Bronco Juggalo, and today I am doing day 1 of Horrific Nightmares JM's 12 Days of Christmas Review Challenge. 12 different reviews on 12 consecutive days. Hey, I am doing a Wild Eye Releasing review. Yes, sir, it is time for another Wild Eye Releasing. And today we are doing the movie Clickbait. Now, that is the American title. The French title, as this is a French film, is Snuff Films. The funny part about this is I had this in my collection back when I did the Brother Peanut Butter Challenge and did not know that I had any French films. I didn't realize this was a French film. I hadn't watched it yet. Not a bad movie. It's got some good entertainment value. There is a few cons. There's a couple things I really didn't like. This is not a movie for the squeamish. That is for sure. It is from the Raw and Extreme line, from Wild Eye. And I do find this part funny because this doesn't happen at all in the movie. But that's okay. Directed by Nicolas Bressier, I believe is how you pronounce it. Our main character, Sarah, is played by Melanie Garino. And the plot of our story is that a young actress responds to an ad online to be a part of a movie. And she gets her script, and her boyfriend travel out to the set. Well, when they get there, they are accosted by 3 people. 3 crazy maniacs who are directing this film. And it turns out that what she basically signed up for, without realizing it, was a snuff film. A real-life film where somebody is beaten, tortured, raped, and killed. And the 3 people that are doing this to her are absolute maniacs. They are completely insane. Sarah finds herself in a fight for her life. This movie was made with 900 euros, which back in 2007 when this movie came out would have been right around $950, I think, if I remember correctly. So this movie was not very expensive to make. They did not put a lot of money into it. This is a true B movie, a true independent horror film. Like I said, there's a lot of things I really enjoyed about this film, and I'm going to get into that here in a minute. As I also stated, this is a French film, and it has no English dub. It has subtitles that the people who made the movie put on. It's not like, you hit your DVD player and you pull up different subtitles. These subtitles were put onto the film, like actually onto the screen, onto the film itself. And sometimes the subtitles are a little wonky, but for the most part, it's pretty decent. You know exactly what's going on at all times. And it's not bad. It does pretty well. But if you are looking for an English dub, unfortunately, you will not find it on this movie. Now, this movie does have kind of a Quentin Tarantino feel to it for me. And what I mean by that, I'm not talking about so much the content, but by some of the way it's filmed, some of the style it's filmed in. It's got that, how Tarantino sometimes jumps around in his stories, like in Kill Bill or Pulp Fiction. It's kind of got that feel to it, or Reservoir Dogs, It's kind of got that where it jumps around a little bit, and it just has that feel. That Tarantino-esque kind of feel. Which doesn't hurt the film at all. It really doesn't. Going into pros and cons, I'm going to start with cons because I only have 2. One is the necrophilia scene. There is a scene where a guy fucks a dead body. And luckily it doesn't show a lot, but it is enough to make you really uncomfortable. The second con that I have is the rape scene. And there is a pretty brutal rape scene in this movie. And once again, they don't show like any actual penetration or anything like that. But it is brutal, and it is enough to make you pretty uncomfortable. I get what they were going for here. The title of the film in France is Snuff Films. And they were basically talking about, I think, the dangers of this kind of thing. In fact, the entire opening credits there's a readout of, people falling for this stuff, the dangers of it, and how bad it is. So, it is a very extreme movie. But those are my only two cons. Those are the only two things that I didn't enjoy in the film. Okay, I really don't mind rape scenes because I know that it's fake. But this one really was really brutal, and I really just didn't like it. So, and once again, that is not me in any sort of way condoning any of that type of behavior. It just, I guess I'm very desensitized now for all these years watching films and horror and all this kind of stuff. So, I mean, if you can want to sit through Spit on the Grave or Last House on the Left or Wild Eyes Animalistic and be okay, you'll be alright. Getting into the pros, my biggest pro was the filming style. They used basically three different types of cameras that I could tell. One is a handheld digital. The other is a handheld old school, like film video camera. And then they have their actual filming camera. And it mixes found footage and real film, if you know what I mean. I don't know if that makes sense, but regular filming and found footage, it mixes the two. Because, as I said, these guys are trying to film a snuff film. And they use handheld camcorders and stuff to do it. The digital one, so there's times where the picture on what you're looking at gets a little staticky, or it has the digital, break up a little bit. And you can tell that was done on purpose. It wasn't done, because they had cheap cameras. It was done that way on purpose, and it looks really good, and it really adds a personality to the filming. It's also a mixture of black and white and color. When they're doing the real-time looking film or the regular filming, it's in color. A lot of the digital handheld stuff is in black and white, and it just makes for a really cool contrast. I like the story in this movie. That's my next pro, is I like the story. It's a very simple story. You kind of get the entire story out of the way in the first 10 minutes of the film, and then you just go on this wild, brutal ride throughout the rest of it. Now, this movie is only 73 minutes long. It isn't a very long film, but it's an intense ride all the way through. It really is. My next pro is the acting of our three psycho characters. I thought that they portrayed different versions of psychotic very well. The main one, he is absolutely filled with rage psychotic. The guy that's doing a lot of the camera work, he is, that kind of weird, creepy, insane, talking to himself, laughing hysterically, kind of, psychotic. And then our third guy, he's the sexual deviant psychotic. And it's just, these guys are nuts. If I didn't know that it was a film, that it was faked, I would say these three guys really were that way. I mean, this was they did such a good job, it really portrayed that realism. And then my last pro is Sarah, and this is kind of, not really a spoiler, but kind of a spoiler. Sarah gets her revenge, or does she? I like the ending of this film. You do kind of see it coming a little bit, but if you watch it, I think you'll enjoy it, okay? Towards the third act of the film is when the rape scene happens, and it's about 10 minutes before the end of the film, maybe not even that far. But after that, Sarah gets back at him, and you think that things are going to be okay for her. Definitely, guys, check this movie out if you are into this kind of stuff. If you're into the really raw, really extreme stuff, check out Wild Eyes Raw and Extreme line releasing of Clickbait, also known in France as snuff films. Definitely, I liked it. I thought it was a good film. Like I said, there's a couple parts that made me extremely uncomfortable. And maybe that's kind of what they were going for, and if it was, and they achieved that, then I guess kudos to them. But, I'm glad to know that there's still something out there that can make me uncomfortable. That's good to know. I'm glad I'm not that totally desensitized. Anyways, this is Bronco Juggalo saying, Merry Christmas, you guys. Day number 1 of the 12 Days of Christmas is in the bag. And before I go, I have something I want to show you. My blood-spattered trio brother Sean and his very amazing wife sent me and my family the coolest Christmas card ever. Love it. Thank you very much, Sean. Merry Christmas to you and yours. I love you, brother. Alright, guys. Well, until tomorrow, I'll be back with day 2. This is Bronco Juggalo saying peace.
Happy holidays, y'all. Give me a gift. Let me sing a little jingle while you drink that fifth. Jingle bells. Tell Santa that he better stop frontin'. It cookie eating motherfucker never leaving nothing. But this year I swear I won't let it happen.